The orbital citadel of Aurelia Prime hung above the ochre clouds like a silver crown, spinning slowly in the dim light of the dying sun. From its grand spires and latticed domes radiated the power of an empire that spanned 6 galaxies, ruled by a single name whispered with reverence and fear alike: Queen Saravine of House Varin. She was young, barely 30 rotations by Aurelian reckoning, and yet her reign was already the stuff of myth. Born into war, tempered by rebellion, and crowned under the watch of twin moons, Saravine was the embodiment of destiny fulfilled. And she wanted one thing above all else: the capture of a human named Elias Trent. For months, his name had been a curse upon the royal lips. The human engineer from the outer colonies had infiltrated one of the Empire's secret shipyards, stolen data that could rewrite the balance of power, and vanished into the void. The Queen's intelligence officers had scoured every quadrant, sending hunters, spies, and assassins. Each mission ended in failure, sometimes in silence. Till now. Part 1: The Command of a Queen. The throne room of Aurelia Prime was vast enough to hold a city block, its air perfumed with the fragrance of crystal lilies and burning plasma incense. Thousands of jeweled light panels shimmered like stars across the high ceiling. Saravine sat upon a throne of obsidian and living silver, her robes flowing in ripples of deep violet and black. Before her knelt General Cale Orest, commander of the Royal Guard. His armor gleaming like night glass, his head bowed low. "He's entered the system," Cale said, his voice echoing softly in the chamber. "Our sensors confirm the human vessel Horizon's Wake crossed the perimeter an hour ago. He's alone." Saravine's expression did not change. Her eyes, like molten amethyst, flickered once. "Alone? Yes, my queen." Her fingers tightened on the carved armrest. "You're certain?" Cale nodded. "No escorts, no fleet, no signals. He is flying directly toward us." For the first time in many rotations, Saravine rose from her throne. The courtiers and guards stiffened as her presence filled the room, radiant, cold, and magnetic. "The human dares approach my citadel," she murmured. "After stealing from me. After defying the Varin throne." Cale swallowed. "Shall I activate the defense grid, my queen?" Saravine turned her gaze toward the massive viewing window. Beyond it, the stars drifted like frozen embers. Somewhere among them was the small, fragile vessel of a man who had become the symbol of defiance. "No," she said at last. "Let him come." Part 2: The Man Who Walked into the Lion's Den. The Horizon's Wake was not built for beauty. It was a patched, battle-scarred craft held together by faith, stubbornness, and 3 different types of welding metal. Its pilot sat in the cockpit, fingers moving across the cracked controls, eyes fixed on the growing image of Aurelia Prime. Elias Trent had seen his share of alien worlds, deserts that breathed fire, oceans that sang with bioelectric storms, moons built entirely from ice, but nothing quite compared to the Aurelian citadel. It was as if an artist had sculpted a cathedral out of light and arrogance. He knew what waited for him inside: judgment, imprisonment, or worse. But his path had never been one of easy choices. When he had stolen the Queen's technology months ago, it wasn't for profit. It was for survival. The resonance drive he'd taken was a weapon disguised as an engine. A power source capable of bending space-time, yes, but also capable of collapsing entire star systems if misused. The Empire had created it to dominate. Elias had taken it to stop them. And now he had returned. Not to surrender, but to end the war before it began. He flicked a switch, sending out his docking request. "This is Elias Trent of the Horizon's Wake, requesting audience with Her Majesty Queen Saravine of Aurelia Prime." Static answered him at first, then a cold female voice crackled through the comms. Proceed to docking bay 17. Any deviation will result in your vaporization. Elias exhaled a dry laugh. Good to see hospitality hasn't changed. He guided his ship into the bay. Magnetic locks clamped down with a thunderous echo. A dozen Aurelian guards awaited him, their plasma spears glowing like suns. He raised his hands. No weapons. I'm here to talk. The guards said nothing. They formed a silent wall of gleaming armor as they escorted him through the towering corridors of crystal and steel. The air shimmered with a faint hum, the resonance of the citadel's living core. Finally, the great doors of the throne room opened before him. Part 3: The Meeting. Queen Saravine sat upon her throne, regal and still, watching as the human was brought before her. For a moment neither spoke. He looked different than she had imagined. The records had shown a brilliant mechanic with defiant eyes and a half-smile. The man standing before her was older, wearier, but those eyes still held that stubborn spark. Elias bowed slightly. Your Majesty. The words were respectful, but his tone was not subservient. You dare come here willingly? Saravine asked, her voice cool as starlight. You who stole from my empire and left a trail of ruin across the colonies. Elias met her gaze evenly. I didn't steal your weapon. I saved your people from it. A murmur ran through the courtiers. The queen raised a hand, silencing them. Explain yourself before I order your disintegration. He reached into his coat and withdrew a small crystalline shard, glowing faintly. The guards instantly raised their weapons, but Saravine gestured for them to wait. This, Elias said, holding the shard up, is what you called the resonance drive. Doesn't just bend space, it consumes it. Every test you ran destabilized the fabric of local reality. I saw the data. You were creating black fractures in the void. Saravine's eyes narrowed. We perfected the design after centuries of research. The drive is the key to infinite expansion. It will make the Aurelian Empire eternal. Or erase it entirely, Elias countered. You're playing with something you don't understand. When your scientists ignited the prototype, do you remember the disappearance of Outpost Delta 7? You called it a solar flare accident. It wasn't. The drive ripped that system out of existence. The room fell silent. The courtiers looked uneasy. Even Kale, standing beside the throne, glanced at his queen. Saravine's voice, when it came, was a whisper edged in steel. Lies. The Empire does not lose systems. We expand. Elias took a step closer. Then why do you think I came back here instead of selling your weapon to your enemies? I came because I can stop it, but I need your help. That word, help, hung in the air like forbidden fire. Part 4. The fracture truth in the days that followed. Saravine ordered Elias confined to the Royal Research Wing, not as a prisoner, but as a guest under scrutiny. The Queen herself observed as he reassembled fragments of the resonance matrix under heavy guard. He explained his findings patiently, using holographic projections to illustrate his point. The energy patterns were unstable. The drive drew from something beyond known physics, a frequency that shouldn't exist, a void resonance from outside their universe. It's not a power source, Elias said. It's a call. Something out there hears it and answers. Saravine frowned. You expect me to believe some phantom creature dwells beyond the veil of space? He tapped the projection. Not creature. Consciousness. You're tapping into a mind that sees our reality as fuel. The Queen stared at the glowing equations, her expression unreadable. And you believe this mind will consume us? It already started, Elias replied quietly. The more you use the drive, the stronger the resonance becomes. It's waking whatever's on the other side. That's why I stole it. That's why I came back. Saravine turned away, her cape whispering across the floor. You could have sent a message. Why risk your life? Elias hesitated. Because I didn't think you'd believe anyone but me. And because... He paused, choosing his words. I've seen what happens to empires that think they can conquer everything. Yours still has a chance to stop. The queen regarded him for a long moment. Her gaze softened just a fraction. You speak as if you care for my people. I care about life, Elias said. Yours, mine, everyone's. What you do here echoes across the stars. For the first time, Saravine had no ready retort. Part 5. The awakening weeks passed. Against the objections of her council, Saravine continued to meet with the human daily. The two debated, argued, and exchanged ideas late into the artificial nights. Somewhere amid their sparring, a strange respect began to grow. Saravine learned to see beyond the arrogance of the human species, to glimpse the raw determination in him, the compassion that had driven him to risk his life for strangers. Elias, in turn, saw in Saravine not just a ruler, but a woman burdened by expectation, a queen crowned too soon, forced to wield absolute power without the freedom to question it. But the danger was not waiting for diplomacy to succeed. One evening, as the queen walked along the viewing deck, alarms shattered the silence. The lights flickered. The air trembled. Kale rushed in. Your Majesty, the core is destabilizing. The resonance field has activated on its own. Saravine's blood turned cold. How? Elias appeared behind the guards, his face pale. It's the consciousness. Found the signal through the drive fragments. It's forcing its way through the breach. The citadel shuddered as reality itself began to ripple. Through the windows the stars twisted, space bending like liquid glass. The resonance hum deepened into a chorus of unearthly voices. We have to shut it down, Elias said urgently. But I can't do it alone. Saravine's voice was steady. Tell me what to do. Part 6. Into the void the two of them raced through the citadel's corridors toward the reactor spire, a colossal chamber filled with spiraling conduits of light. The resonance drive pulsed at its heart, a sphere of swirling energy that distorted the air around it. Override the containment field, Elias shouted over the rising roar. If we can invert the frequency, we might seal the breach. Saravine slammed her palm against the control panel, her eyes blazing as the interface responded to her royal genetic code. Energy beams flickered and twisted. A shape began to form within the sphere, an outline of something vast, featureless, and hungry. A voice echoed through their minds. We hear you. We remember the sound of creation. Saravine staggered. It's alive. Focus. Elias grabbed a control rod, forcing it into place. On my mark. Collapse the quantum bridge. The creature's voice grew louder. You would deny U.S. entry. We gave you the gift of power. Saravine gritted her teeth. And I take it back. Together they triggered the inversion. The sphere imploded in a blinding flash. A wave of energy surged through the citadel, hurling them both backward. When the light faded, the hum was gone. The resonance drive was silent. The breach had closed. But Elias lay motionless on the floor. Saravine knelt beside him, her hands trembling. Elias! His eyes fluttered open weakly. Told you, it could be done. You fool, she whispered, her voice cracking. You could have died. He smiled faintly. Would have been worth it. If you lived to tell the story.